Hello, my name is Julianne, and I decided to annotate Daniel chapter 6, the parable of Daniel in the lion's den. This was a fun read, gave some methods of dealing with ancient criminals, which I thought was entertaining. But some of the major themes that I found in this parable were faithfulness and justice. We follow Daniel, who is a servant of both God and King Darius, who has newly conquered the Babylonian Empire. And King Darius split up his empire into provinces and gave Daniel a major administrator one. Now, some of these other leaders were jealous of Daniel because he was all around a great guy, very trustworthy, not negligent, not corrupt like they appear to be. They tricked King Darius into making a decree that no man should pray to any god or person for the next 30 days. And Daniel, a devout Jewish man, did not heed this. He continued to pray to his God, and that landed him in the lion's den. This kind of shows, it really shows his faithfulness and his refusal to stop serving. And the kind of refers to the daily persecution that Christians face in the real world. And they are called to continue their faith, even in the face of persecution and rejection. And then on the other hand, the justice of it all, the leaders who were seeking to eradicate Daniel, they did face justice. They did face those consequences. They were thrown into the lion's den themselves. And this kind of shows that justice is inevitable with God. Those who persecute and harm God's people will eventually face the consequences, whether in life or death. And Christians are called to follow God, even in the face of this persecution, similarly to Jesus, who faced all of the rejection and persecution and even death. And then with his death, Jesus sacrificed himself because justice had to be served. He did it all, still praising God, but justice had to be served. And a judgment had to be placed, and he bore that sin while still praising God. And just like the evil leaders in the story, those who reject God's mercy will eventually face that judgment, and those who remain faithful will be saved. And that's an excellent example of that. And then my commentary, which also annotated, I read this and was seeking to answer what is the gospel, what is the Christian version of the gospel, what is the good news. And I see this as the good news is the heart of the Christian belief. So it's salvation through Jesus, his life, death, resurrection, and an invitation to experience God's kingdom. Now, I used some excerpts from Exodus, Luke, or some verses from Exodus, Luke, and Luke again, actually, is two from Luke. Now, the first one was God's rescue of his Israelites from Egypt. And this kind of showed me his plan of deliverance of his people, his promise. There's a lot of promises in the Old Testament. And this is Christians believe that Jesus came to rescue humanity from sin. God is not only rescuing his followers from physical restraint, but emotional and spiritual as well. But he still makes that promise. And then my second piece of evidence was that of the parable of the prodigal son. And this kind of showed me more the gospel and its meaning of God's grace. So his forgiveness of people, to receive them with open arms and compassion. And no matter how far one strays, God will grant unconditional love and grace to those who seek him, repent, and believe. And then that third piece of evidence that I used was a commentary from a Transformation Study Bible. And this kind of showed me that the gospel is even for the ordinary. It's for every person, big or small. And it's also tailored to the individual needs of said person. It may deliver each believer in different ways and always speaks to everyone who follows. And then my kind of fourth piece to really tie it all was Bible Project's video, How to Read the Bible, the Gospel. And this is showing kind of victory and the rise of a new king, the king being Jesus. And God's kingdom has begun its construction within humanity, and the hope to be found within it. And the gospel is, it is a promise made by God, but also it's the Christian reality on earth. It brings salvation and hope and how to live under Christ. It's how to do this, and not just about like what happens to us when we die. The Christian gospel, is synonymous with good news, and it's a representative of God's acting through Jesus. And it is his unending love and faithfulness, as well as his victory over sin. It is his invitation for all people to return to him and put their faith in him. Thank you.